evening and welcome to the October 6th meeting.
7.
It's the 6th.
It's 6.
There was discussion over the date, and in debate we decided it is indeed October the 6th.
We went into committee over it.
Yeah, absolutely. It is my pleasure to introduce to you tonight the owner, or the operator, I believe.
Not the owner.
Yeah, the operator of the Barnes & Noble and the Boat Student Center, and the textbook manager, Ann Harner and Gant Tucker. And they're here to talk to you tonight about textbooks.
Thank you. My name's Ann. We're very excited to be here. We've had an opportunity to talk to student government in the past, and it's something we like to do just to share some information about the bookstore and about textbooks and really, hopefully, ask for your help on some things. We are the official ISU bookstore. We actually are contracted with the university to be here serving the campus. Barnes & Noble College has over 600 stores, and we serve campuses, everything from Harvard and Yale, stores with cosmetic counters, 2 or 3 levels, to very small stores that are about half the size of this room, and on very small campuses with 2,000 to 3,000 students, and everything in between. One of the things that we do, because we are the official bookstore and we're contracted to be here, we actually give back a set % of all of our sales to ISU, and that all goes to keep student fees low. And since we've been here, we've given over $2.8 million back. We're the only store that does that, and we like to make people aware of that. Some of the things we do is try to make it as easy as possible for students and parents to buy their textbooks from us, so that we in turn can support ISU even more. Textbooks, one of the things we do is, of course, sell textbooks, and textbooks is something that is generally not a favorite thing of students to buy because they're extremely expensive. I've got a few just highlights of things I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to ask Ant to pass those out, and if you want to take notes, that's great. But because we are selling textbooks, and because we are very concerned about the pricing, we can't do anything about the prices from the publishers. That's set. We have a set markup, which is part of our contract with the university, and our markup hasn't changed in over 70 or 25 years, but the price of the books from publishers continue to go up. So there are several things that we try to do to influence the cost of textbooks. And I was going to have Gant talk about this, but since I've given him another little project, I'm going to start. First of all is used books. Does anybody know how much you save when you get a used book at our store? Any idea? Every time I do a training class with new employees, I ask the same question, and I get the same response. Most people know that you save money, but they don't know how much. And our used books are always 25% less than a new book. And we spend a lot of time and effort trying to get used books so that we have them available for sale to students. Another program that we implemented this past fall that we're very excited about is we introduced textbook rentals. We have select titles that are available for rental. It's probably about 20% of our book list. And I know if nobody knows the used book price, nobody will know what the savings is with a rental, so I'll tell you, you're actually going to save over 50%. It's about 55% when you rent a book from us. And that's off the price of a new book. We also, something that we're seeing become more and more popular, and we saw a huge increase in interest both from students and faculty this semester, and this will only continue to grow, is digital books. And digital books are another way to save students money. They're also, in some cases, extremely convenient because you don't have to carry a lot of books around. And Gant's going to talk a little bit about digital books and some of the, what we call Nook Study.
Well, the price of digital books is about half the cost of a new book. So you can save 50% by getting a digital book. They also come with digital rights management, which lets you print a certain amount of pages. You can copy a certain amount of pages, and that's very cool. one of the things that Barnes & Noble does is we have a free e-reader software program called Nook Study. So if anyone has ever seen a Nook or a Kindle, those little e-readers, you don't have to have that to work with a digital textbook. Our program is free, and that way you're not tied to a specific platform. You can download it onto your Mac or your PC or your laptop and use it on anything. I have a display of it here. Once you download the free program, you can see it comes with your instruction book, and in many cases you can download some free books that actually comes with the program. Once you buy your e-textbook, you can download it by clicking this device here. Now I'm not hooked up to the internet, so I can't do that. But one of the things that you can do is go ahead and divide all your books into your courses, and that'll keep track of which books are used for which courses. You can open up the book, and you've got a whole lot of things that you can do with it, just like you would with a physical textbook. You can take notes, which are denoted by these little things here. You can edit the note. This is a great part I put in here. You can tag it so that you can cross-reference all your notes. You can also highlight. One of the other things that's really neat about this program is that you can insert links. So if you're looking up something online about Dracula, you can put the URL in there, and anytime you reference your notes, you can go to that place on the internet, and all your information is right there. Now, if you're at home using your PC, and you do all your homework, and take a lot of notes, all you have to do to take those notes with you to class is have the same program on your laptop, sync it up to the internet, and all your notes follow you to class. So you don't have to actually transfer the notes physically from one computer to another. That follows with you. So it's got a lot of versatility. You can shop for more books if you want. So you can download that one book that you didn't buy for class. You can do that at home or wherever you're connected to the internet. What else?
And we're seeing a lot of interest about digital books. There's a lot of confusion out there, and the whole digital market is changing drastically. As far as Barnes & Noble, we introduced an e-reader device called the Nook, which is for more trade books. There is really no textbook e-reader right now, because textbooks are a little more complicated than just a trade book. So that's why we've always tried to do software first and make that free, and then people can put it on the device that they want. Our trade e-reader is something that you can put on your smartphones, your iPad, your iTouch. Right now, with textbooks, that's a little different, and there's a lot of interest currently in the iPad. There is no real application right now for textbooks and iPad, but we could be talking in 2 months and that's going to change. So we're very excited about digital books and the interest that that has. Have you guys heard much about it, or any questions about ebooks? Okay. Well, please, if you hear people talking about it, please refer them to us, because we have a lot of information. We're seeing a lot of interest. And we're also finding, and I had a discussion with Ted, for example, just this week. He's currently a grad student. We're seeing that even in the group of students that we have here on campus, there's a varying degree of interest. You know, sometimes somebody who's a senior might prefer that hard book and that hard copy, but incoming freshmen, they have a whole different mindset about digital. And I think it's just how they've grown up with technology, and it's just amazing to me how just a couple years can make a difference in how they view technology and what they're comfortable with. With more traditional books, as I said, we put a lot of emphasis on used books. And a couple things about buyback. First of all, we actually do buyback year-round. Buyback is when we give students cash for their textbooks. When I first started with Barnes & Noble, I was a little surprised. I thought everybody did it. And about 2 or 3 years ago, I helped with the transition when we took over another account. It was Indiana University, which is a very big university. And at the time, they were an institutional store, meaning the university ran the bookstore, and they only did buyback usually about 4 to 6 times a year. and students couldn't come in at any time. And that is one of the services we offer as a university bookstore. Does anybody understand how we determine the price that we give back students? Okay, and has anybody been frustrated with that in the past? That's very common, and we hear it. And we want people to understand how it works, because we find out the more people understand and the more they can help us, that the more students can get back. If we know that a book is being used on campus and we still need books for our shelf of that title, it's in our contract with the university that we give back 50% of what we sold that book for. So for example, if we sold a book for $100 and we need it for our shelves for buyback, we give the students $50 in cash. If it's a used book, we would have sold it to them at $75, so we give them back $37.50. If we don't know that a book's being used, then it goes to national demand, and that's based on how much the book's being used across the country, and that's set by a wholesaler, and that will vary totally by title. So that's why you might see, you come in, you sell back your book, you might get $50 for that title. Somebody else might come in 2 days later and they get $15. It's because we've already reached our limit and we don't need that title any longer. We put a lot of emphasis on trying to get the book list from the faculty members prior to finals week. And the best example I can give you of that was my first year here for buyback. We had a book, I think it was a chemistry book, I might be wrong, but I do remember the details. It was a $120 book. We sold it for the previous semester. We didn't know the book was being used. They had not turned in a book order. So at buyback that May, we gave students $20. That was the national demand. About 2 weeks after the classes ended, the department turned in a book order. So we could have given the ISU students $60 back for that book, which is what we would have preferred. And by giving students back, we would have bought it for our shelf. We would have then had it available for the next semester to sell a used copy. But since we didn't know it was being used, we actually only gave back $20. We then, because we bought it wholesale for a wholesaler, we sent that used book off campus, and then we're competing with every other bookstore that in the country that's needing that title to get used copies. So one of the things we do is try to get as many textbooks orders in prior to finals week as possible. Illinois State, as a university, is very supportive of that. They have a deadline. They ask their faculty to turn book orders in. They let us have access to the department secretaries. We sponsor a luncheon twice a year, and we will actually be having our lunch next Tuesday. And if anybody from student government would like to come, we would love to have you join us. It's on Tuesday from 12 to 1 o'clock, and you could just get a hold of Gant and I and let me know that you're interested in coming. We'd love to introduce you. And we find that if student government and students convey how important it is that we have used books available, that means so much more than us just talking about it. Another thing that we do with all the departments as an incentive to try to get them to turn their book orders in is we actually split all the departments into 3 categories. And if they have 90% of their book orders in by the deadline for this spring semester, will be October 31st. We divide them into 3 categories. We give 3 $500 checks out and 3 second place prizes of $325 that the departments can use for supplies for their department. Sometimes they use it for student recognition, whatever they want. And once again, all we're trying to do is emphasize to them how important it is for us to get those book orders in so that we have used books.